again, guys, Mr. Parisi here, and today we're going to be talking about some math associated with cars and figuring out different trips or different, maybe like a road trip or something, planning for something like that. So some interesting stuff towards the end of this lesson and some basic math throughout the beginning part. So let's get started with some real-world problems. Jakayla drove 8,423 miles in the first year of owning her SUV. Based on this, how many miles would you expect her to drive after 7 years? So it's really just a one-step equation. If I'm starting with 8,423 miles, and I want to see how many I would drive in 7 years, all I got to do is multiply by 7. I'm going from 1 year to 7 years, so I'm going to multiply that out to get 58,961 miles. Super simple. Question number 2 is similar, but it's almost like we're working backwards. It says Charlotte's odometer reads 64,143.6 miles. Her car is 5 years old. On average, how many miles does Charlotte drive each year? Since I'm going from 5 years back to 1 year, I want to split these miles up evenly over 5 years. So if I'm splitting something up evenly over 5 years, instead of multiplying, I'm going to divide by 5 here to get my final answer. So my final answer here is going to be 12,828.72 miles. And that's miles per year. So I'll put slash year. Number 3 is just like number 1. If Jake drives an average of 11,223 miles per year, how long would you expect him, or how far would you expect him to drive in 3 years? So again, we're going from 1 year to 3 years. Just have to multiply it out. 11223 times 3. And this is going to equal 33,669 total miles. So far, so good. Questions 4 and 5 look just like number 2, so I'm going to give you a second. You can pause the video, try them for yourself, and then when you're ready, hit play to check your answers. So you should have realized that you had to divide for both of these questions. So I'm taking my total miles, dividing it by the number of years to get my final answer. For number 4, it should have been 10,121.9 miles, and number 5 should have been 8,030.3 miles. The last type of question that we're going to look at for today is when you're given your odometer reading. So your odometer just keeps track of how many miles you've driven in your car. If you have 2 different readings and you want to figure out like how far you drove in a day, you can just take a look at your starting reading and your ending reading, and all you have to do is subtract them. So it says when Tiffany left for work in the morning, her odometer read 12,345.6 miles, and when she came home at the end of the day, her odometer read 12,489 miles. You're just looking for the difference between those two. So I'm taking my ending reading and I'm going to subtract my starting reading. And I'm going to see what I get, and my difference here is going to be the total amount that Tiffany drove during the day. So in this case, I got 143.4 miles. So that's a decent amount of driving in a day, but it is doable. Maybe she ran some errands after work. She's got a long drive to work, something like that. Number 7 says Isaiah drove from Buffalo to see his brother Alex in Washington, D.C. His odometer read 36,875.8 miles at the start of the trip, and it read 37,358.6 miles when he arrived in DC. So again, we're going to just take 37,358.6 and we're going to subtract 36,875.8. So let me just type that into my calculator really quick to see what we get. So I got 482.8 total miles. That's a long drive from Buffalo to DC. Not too bad, but probably take you about 6 hours. 482.8 miles. Now, as we move on, we are going to start thinking about like little road trips that we could take. So to start, we're going to construct our road trip, and it's already given to us. It's going to be a road trip through like New York and Pennsylvania. So we're going to go from Buffalo to Rochester to Syracuse to New York City to Philadelphia. And quick correction, this should be not Philadelphia, New York. It should be PA. The first time you see it, it was a misprint. Obviously, it's PA for the second one. So Philadelphia, PA, and then lastly, we're going to go to Pittsburgh before coming back home to Buffalo. So we're going to use Google Maps for this, and I'm going to show you how to start this up, and I'll let you guys finish it on your own. So let's take a trip to Google Maps. Let's open a new tab and pull that up. So here we are on Google Maps. What we're going to have to do is we're going to come right over here to this little arrow at the top here, and it says directions. If you click on that, it lets you put in your starting point. So we're going to say Buffalo, New York. And then my first destination is Rochester. So that's what I'm going to write in my space right below. So I'm going to go from Buffalo to Rochester. It's going to pop up with a couple of different options. Now, up at the top here, sometimes it gives you more than one route. Here from Buffalo to Rochester, there's really only one quick way to get there, and it's going on the 90. But make sure you are on driving and you're not on like a bus or walking. You don't want to take 22 hours to walk to Rochester. So let's make sure we're driving. And in this case, it's saying, hey, it's going to take us 1 hour and 12 minutes, and it's going to be 76.5 miles. So we can go ahead and put that right into our Jamboard. So here we are on our Jamboard, and we're going to say this was 1 hour, 12 minutes, and it was 76.5 miles. Now we can hop back. My next location from Rochester, we're going to go to Syracuse. So with these columns, we want to keep a cumulative total. So I want to know that the total time taken for this whole trip. So I'm going to just keep a running tally here. And I'm going to just add Syracuse on as the next stop. So let's hop back over to Google Maps. So the easiest way to add on another stop is just to come down here to add destination. I'm going to hit that plus sign, and a new line is going to pop up. So now I'm going to type in Syracuse, New York. And you'll notice it adds it right on to the trip, and now I can see my stop here at Buffalo, my stop at Rochester, and my stop at Syracuse. And this is the values that we're going to put in the chart. So again, it's the whole total for the trip so far. It's 2 hours, 38 minutes, and 163 miles. As we continue through this, you guys are going to take it from here. But again, you just keep hitting add destination to add on your next stop. So let's go ahead and type these values into our Jamboard, and then I'm going to let you guys finish up. So, like we've seen in Google Maps, it was 2 hours and 38 minutes. And I believe my total mileage came to 163 miles through these first two stops. Now, what I want you guys to do, I want you to finish this chart, continue, go to New York City next, then go to Philly, then go to Pittsburgh, then go to Buffalo. And again, we've got our running tally going the whole way. So that's your responsibility to finish. And then for homework, you are actually going to do the same thing, but it's going to be you're choosing 4 destinations of your choice. So your chart's going to look very similar. Use this as a guide. So for example, if I wanted to go to Orlando, Florida, I would write Orlando, and that would be Florida. And then I would plug that into Google Maps. And then obviously I would be going from Orlando, that would be my starting point for the second leg of this trip, to whatever you want your next city to be. Again, you don't need to choose Orlando, Florida. Choose whatever you want. Choose any places in the United States that you want to go to. Okay? Just for your info, you can't drive to Hawaii, so don't try. Anyways, go ahead, finish this up for homework. Make yourself a nice, fun little road trip. Visit 4 cities that you think might be cool to go visit. Awesome. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment on your Google Classroom and or get a hold of myself or Miss Baker. Thank you and have a great day.